Greetings, I'm the Bulgarian Troglodyte. Today I'm gonna do this movie quiz. It's called About You. I stumbled onto this quiz like a month ago in social media, and I thought that it would be fun to do this for a video, even though many of these questions or parts are very cookie cutter. But it has these basic questions like what is your favorite movie of all time, and what film has the best script, and what is your favorite poster, and things like that. And I'll leave these questions down below if you want to do a response video or if you just want to look at the questions. And definitely let me know your thoughts down below about any of the films that I mentioned here or what would be your answers to these questions. So number one is favorite movie of all time. And I chose Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which is probably my favorite movie of all time. But of course, I have a favorites list that has like 365 films currently, so it's really hard to choose a single film that is my favorite of all time. And there are a couple of other films that I could choose for this question, like The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, but I'm still gonna go with Fire Walk with Me, but it might change at some point. Then we have Best Script, and I don't think there is a single best script out there. There are just many great ones, but I decided to go with Harakiri. It's a film that has very intricate plot, very intricate structure, lots of thematic depth to it. Great, well written main character, and yeah, it's a perfect film in a perfect script. Yeah. Then favorite poster. So it's of course impossible to choose just a single favorite poster, but one of my favorite posters is this blue Mulholland Drive poster, and I actually own this, and I have this on my wall. I have this kind of biggest available size on my wall. And yeah, it's a really beautiful poster, in my opinion. Again, this type of dark blue color is one of my favorite colors. And I love the contrast between the white and then the different shades of blue and then the red text here. Again, the movie title. Yeah. But I think this is a very beautiful poster and it fits the film really well, I think. Yeah. Then number four, I'll watch it. I'll watch it someday. Yeah, sorry, my throat is a bit dry, as always, yeah. But I chose The Great Escape, which is a huge classic that I haven't seen. But it just doesn't sound like my type of film, so I haven't watched it yet. But I know that I'm gonna watch it at some point, as it is a very important film. Then big personal impact. Of course, there are many films that have impacted me a lot personally. And this is a type of topic that I talk about a lot in my channel, because I think it's more interesting to talk about our personal connections to art rather than just do a cold-hearted analysis all the time. So even though there's a place for that as well. But I decided to go with A Tale of Winter by Eric Romer, one of my favorite filmmakers, if not my favorite filmmaker. But this just kind of sums up my thoughts about love and my idealism about love and relationships. So it kind of, this film actually tells a lot about who I am as a person. And it also reminds me of a great person in my life, you know who you are, who also loves this film a lot. And I watched it for the first time as he really loved it. So yeah, so it has a lots of impact on my life. And Romer is the type of filmmaker that I love the most, who does films with simple plots but very intelligent and complex characters. And there's lots of interesting philosophical dialogue in there and very nice cinematography as well with lots of these kind of basic still shots and stuff. Yeah, but that's one film that had a big personal impact on me and continues to have it. And I'm actually thinking that I might start a tradition of that I always watch it on Christmas Eve, as I think the themes about love would really fit that. Best long movie. So obviously there are many great long movies, but I actually decided to go with a mini series. but I cannot think of it as a film. So it's Berlin Alexander Platz, an adaptation of the Alfred Dublin novel, but it's from Rainer Werner Fassbinder, and I think it's in the conversation for being the greatest film of all time. It's just so incredible with beautiful, dark, hypnotic cinematography that reminds me of Dostoevsky's novels a lot, and interesting main character that reminds us of Tony Soprano a lot. A very slow paced film or show, but it's a very rewarding experience and a very intense experience in the end. Yeah. Then number seven, you like but everyone hates. Again, this type of question is kind of hard to think about because obviously even the worst films of all time still have a fan base, so there isn't really a film that everybody hates, especially there aren't many of those types of movies that I really like. But I decided to go with From Paris with Love, which we also talked about on the podcast. And it's not a well recorded movie, and it's a really bad movie, but I just love watching it because John Travolta is absolutely mental in it. It's such a funny film, even though it's kind of problematic in certain ways as well. It feels a bit xenophobic and stuff, but it's just so over the top and stupid that I can't help but love it. Yeah. Then you hate, but everyone loves. Well, I went with the first Die Hard film. I really don't understand why people love this so much, and I don't understand what makes it like the greatest action movie of all time. To me, action movies are supposed to be fun, and especially with the 80s action films, they are supposed to be very homoerotic. They are supposed to have lots of muscle bound guys, but this one doesn't have that. It just has one of the biggest assholes in movie history, Bruce Willis. And yeah, I just really can't stand this film, even though again I can see obviously it's competently made and stuff like that. So if you look at my rating for the film, I haven't rated it like half a star or anything because I can tell it's competently made movie, but I still really don't like it. I don't enjoy watching it, and it's kind of the opposite of what action movies should be, in my opinion. But I know I'm in a very, very small minority with that one. Then underrated, I went with Frank Borsake's "I've Always Loved You," which I've mentioned quite a few times this year on my channel, as it is one of my favorite first-time watches of the year. It's very similar to the Red Shoes. It has beautiful, colorful cinematography. It's about classical music, and there's this kind of student-mentor relationship with interesting power dynamics here, and there's a love triangle in there as well. But this is a film that has been largely forgotten, even though Frank Borzage is a fairly famous filmmaker. But this isn't the film that people really talk about, and it's not a film that you find on great film lists or anything like that. And I just kind of randomly stumbled onto it on Letterboxd when somebody had logged it, and then I looked at it and looked at the plot synopsis, and it sounded really interesting. And then I finally watched it and absolutely fell in love with it immediately. Yeah. And it's on YouTube on 1080p, at least last time I checked, if you want to watch it. I think it's a very accessible film and something that most people would love. Then we have Overrated, and I went with a classic choice of Nolan's Inception. And again, if you follow my channel, you know how much I dislike Nolan. He is to me like a sociopathic director. When you watch his films, it feels like they are made by a person who has never felt any human emotion. He's like an emotional blank slate. He doesn't understand what makes humans human. So his characters tend to be very dull and dry and unhumane. They feel like robots. But I don't blame the actors, I blame the director because this is a thing that happens in all of his films that I have seen. I haven't seen Tenet or Oppenheimer yet. And Inception is a film about dreams, but where is the fucking creativity here? It's just again roads going upside down. There's a minor flood. There isn't anything else going on. But when you are doing a film about dreams, the possibilities are endless. You could have some absolutely anything, but he just does this kind of planned thing about a very interesting idea. And again, watch Satoshi Kon's Paprika, which this is a kind of a remake of, and that's a way more colorful and a way more interesting film and a beautiful film. But yeah, Inception is a piece of shit, to be honest, just like Nolan is a piece of shit as a director, and yeah, don't understand the hype. It just crushes my soul every day on this god-forsaken planet that people love this hack director so much, this pseudo-intellectual director so much. Yeah, go watch some better movies. Then 11, why do I like this? So this was one of the harder questions to come up with an answer to. But I went with Rivet's Out One, and it's a film that starts with these really long drawn out theater rehearsal scenes, but still somehow the film is very engaging, even though it's just so slow and it feels pointless at times, but I still love it for some reason. So that's why I chose it here. Yeah. Then great soundtrack, and I went with Blue Velvet. Has some Julie Cruise and lots of other great songs as well, and music plays a huge role in the film. I think it's such a great soundtrack, and yeah, one of the things that makes that film so great. Then we have that cinematography. I could go with many films, but I went with Kichu Yoshida's Heroic Purgatory, which has these beautiful black and white brutalist compositions with weird angles. But it's brutal, but it's also very beautiful at the same time. It's off-putting, but inviting at the same time. So yeah, I love it. And it has some of the best cinematography of all time, but I could have gone with Mishima Life in Four Chapters or Paris, Texas or Barry Lyndon or many other films. Then Bad Day Cure. Again, this is basically a question about comfort movies, and I could have gone with many different ones, but I went with Eric Rome's Four Adventures of Rainet and Mirabelle, which is about these two young women and their friendship, and it's absolutely beautiful, very charming, lots of fun, and just my type of movie. And it's very chill at the same time, but not boring. So it's perfect for a bad day when you need to unwind after a work day or whatever. So yeah, favorite protagonist. So this was really hard because there are so many choices, but I just went Dragon Ball Super Broly, and I went with Goku, even though I love Vegeta more, but Goku is the protagonist. Yeah, so yeah, I of course love him. He has been in my life, my whole life basically, and he's such a badass and great character, fun character. Yeah. Then number 16, favorite trilogy, and then I think it you need to pick the favorite movie out of the trilogy, but I of course went with the Human Condition. And if I had to choose a favorite out of the three, I would maybe go with the last one because the ending is so powerful, I think, and it's just a good culmination of all the themes of the trilogy, and it's emotionally very powerful as well. Yeah. Then biggest letdown, I went with Sion Sono's Prisoners of the Ghostland. This was a film that I was so hyped about, but then I didn't like it at all. Again, it's a Nicolas Cage and Sion Sono collab, so I thought that that would be amazing that we have one of the craziest actors collabing with one of the craziest directors, and how could that go wrong? But then it ended up being this bland Netflix type of movie that I didn't like at all. Yeah. But Sion Sono didn't write the script, so it maybe it's because the script writers and the producers were stupid or something. I don't know. Biggest surprise, and actually went with a anime TV show for this one, and I talked about this recently, but it's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So before I went into this, I thought that it won't be one of the best animes. It's so mainstream, it cannot be that good. But then after a few episodes, I really got into it, and now it's one of my favorite animes. I think it's just perfect mix of philosophical themes and fun, fast-paced story with lots of action. Has great characters. Yeah, amazing show. And I was so wrong when I thought that it wouldn't be that good. Then number 19, not the best, but having fun. So of course I could go with so many films for this one too, but I went with 13 going on 30. I've seen this a few times, and it's basically like a female version of the Tom Hanks movie Big, which I also really enjoy, but I went with this one. Yeah, it's just so much fun. Yeah, it's just fun. It's not a good movie, but the concept is really fun that again a 13-year-old suddenly is gonna transport that into her adult body when she's 30, and then she has to live that adult life even though she's still a kid inside. So it's a really fun concept. Yeah, criminally overlooked. Could go with many films for that one too, but I went with Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Charisma, which when I watched it this year, I immediately thought that it's one of the best films of the last few decades. But while Kiyoshi Kurosawa is a very popular director, I don't think many people talk about this film, even though it's just visually absolutely amazing. So much different types of symbolism there, and it doesn't give you any answers. You can interpret the movie in so many ways. It has such a thought-provoking ending. Koji Yakusho is so good in it. And it's just a perfect mind-bending movie that I wish people would talk about more. Then a few more to go. Depressing movie. I went with Joshua the Bailiff, of course, which is an incredibly depressing movie. The whole world in that movie is very depressing, and it doesn't have that much hope or optimism in it. Very dark, depressing movie. Then we have favorite active director. I went with Aki Kaurismäki, who is a very consistent director. I like all of his films that I have seen, and he has made also many great films. And I'm always excited when he does a new film. Of course, he did Fallen Leaves very recently. Again, he had said before that he was retired, but I'm pretty sure that he will continue making films, hopefully. So I think he's an active director. Yeah. Favorite animated movie, I went with A Silent Voice, which is such a beautiful film. And I could have had this on that big personal impact part as well, as it had a huge personal impact on me, and it's a very relatable film to me. But we did a podcast episode on this one. If you're interested, yeah. Then, not usually my thing, but I went with North by Northwest because actually I'm not that into thrillers anymore. But for some reason, Hitchcock, I still love Hitchcock a lot. And North by Northwest, of course, has some James Bond vibes and stuff, and I hate James Bond, but for some reason I've always loved North by Northwest. And I think Hitchcock films have some kind of weird magic to them that I just love still to this day. Yeah, he's such a great director, but I usually am not into these types of films that much anymore. I used to be more into them when I was a kid, but I still love Hitchcock. Yeah. But those were my answers to these 24 questions. Let me know yours, and again, you can do a response video. You can find the questions down below. Thanks for watching. Don't drink Coke at all. Sayonara and arigato gozaimashita.